Thank you very much, Janet and Kristen, for that rendition of the reading. We basically heard the prequel to the Christmas story. Mary and Elizabeth, both cousins, share about their pregnancies. And something marvelous happens to both of them. Mary herself and Elizabeth's husband have angelic visions. Angels are related to fairies, aren't they? In the world's religions, the birth of great sages are often accompanied by a variety of miracles. Krishna, the Buddha, the virgin birth of the Egyptian Horus, Moses, the Greek Mitra, Muhammad, and countless others. But I couldn't find any examples of miraculous births associated with wise women for some reason. The Unitarian Universalist tradition long ago moves away from miracle stories as a source of our faith. Our ancestors developed what's called a cessationist view of miracles. Miracles cease with biblical times. Biblical miracles cannot be explained with philosophical or psychological or scientific evidence. Moreover, the divine has removed God's self from active engagement in the world. It's up to us how we behave and how we do good in the world. The real miracle for Unitarian Universalists comes from what we now call religious naturalism. Life itself, human life, and human accomplishments are all miracles. Pregnancy is a miracle. A safe, healthy birth is a miracle. A newborn babe is a miracle. And if you look in the babe's face, you will see the mystery and wonder of life staring right at you. In our shared Unitarian Universalist values, direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of universal inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, they renew our spirits, they transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning in our lives. So Mary's and Elizabeth's pregnancies are laden with symbolism. They experience the mystery and wonder of pregnancy. And we can share in their experiences vicariously through our own experiences of pregnancy, or for some of us, through our partners or family members' experiences of pregnancy, childbirth, and babies. These two are moments of transcending wonder and mystery. So, Mary's name means rebellion. Has anyone ever taught that in Sunday school? The Christian tradition depicts Mary as meek, humble, and obedient. And Janet, you did such a wonderful job in the role of Mary. But it utterly ignores her rebellious stance. When Mary feels Jesus kicking in her womb, excuse me, when Mary feels Jesus kicking in her womb, she bursts out into song called the Magnificat in Latin, or the Song of Mary in English. And this is an early Christian hymn that the authors and editors of the Christian Testament put into Mary's mouth that she sings at the pregnancy. And her rebellious words are in our reading today. Mary sings, "God has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. God has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. God has remembered the people." Does that sound meek, humble, and obedient to you? It's no wonder that the Christian tradition glosses over, whitewashes this aspect of Mary. Her aphorisms question the unjust way of the world and instead envision a hope-filled future for all of humanity. I thought, you know what? I better send a Christmas card to President-elect Trump with these words of Mary on them. And maybe Elon Musk deserves one too. Mary is, of course, talking about Jesus. She and his followers expect him to topple the powerful from the places of oppression for the benefit of the oppressed. These include the Roman occupation with its ruthless, totally ruthless imperial army and its puppet Jewish government. Jesus will feed the hungry, banishing the rich who profiteer off of the meager wages of the poor. That becomes one of Jesus' core teachings. How many times and times and times does Jesus say and show and do feed the hungry? Most Palestinian Jews of Jesus' time live in a subsistence economy. They could barely feed themselves, and they regularly face widespread malnutrition. The same is sadly true in Israeli-occupied Gaza today. And it's also true in our own country. 11.1% of Americans live below the federal poverty level. They don't have enough money for food, housing, clothing, and medical stuff. International sources claim that that is an understatement. They say that 18% of Americans live in abject poverty. No other Western developed nation has such high rates of poverty and malnutrition as the United States does. Our treasurer, Jim Dowd, recently shared a video called Wealth Inequality in America with the social justice team. The top 1% of Americans own 40% of the wealth in this country, and the bottom 80% own only 7% of the wealth. Here's another way of looking at it. The average CEO earns in an hour what it takes the average worker over a month to earn. So is this what Mary means when she says, God has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty? The Christian Christmas narrative eventually has the angels appear to shepherds who are, again, the poorest of the poor, making an existence by tending sheep in the fields, and the angels give them a promise: peace on earth. Early Christianity assigns Jesus the title Prince of Peace. But that's also a highly symbolic act, because it's not the title that the Romans think of when someone says Prince of Peace. The Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus titled himself the Prince of Peace. He's a Roman emperor during the time of Jesus' birth and childhood, and he initiates an era called the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. And it's not an absence of war or conflict, quite the contrary. It's a forced peace by military oppression. All foreign and domestic opponents and rebellions are violently squelched by the ruthless force of the imperial Roman army. And oppressed populations like the Palestinian Jews lose their ability to resist in such oppression. We can think of modern day examples of such autocratic regimes: Russia, North Korea, Iran, and until recently, Syria. So the first Christians called Jesus the Prince of Peace, not in some pious religious sense, but as a political act of defiance of the Roman Empire. It's a protest. The Christian use of Prince of Peace makes it ironic to call the emperor, with his brutality and violence, the Prince of Peace. In our own United States, Trump promises peace through strength. he has vowed repeatedly a strong military to end or avoid wars, as well as to suppress dissent and protests in the United States. And he's already done this when he was the president the first time. He deployed law enforcement with tear gas and riot gear to forcefully clear peaceful demonstrators who were protesting the murder of George Floyd outside the White House in Lafayette Square. Peaceful demonstrators attacked by our own government. That's what peace through strength means. Is that the Pax Romana, a modern day Pax Americana? That's not peace at all. That's simply brutal violence. The Unitarian Universalist Association and some of its congregations have aligned themselves with an ecumenical movement called Just Peace Churches. The Just Peace movement distinguishes itself from other historic stances, such as the Crusades, the doctrine of discovery, pacifism, and the just war theory. The name Just Peace paraphrases the Roman Catholic Pope Paul's the sixth religious aphorism: if you want peace, work for justice. Our own Unitarian Universalist Service Committee has holiday cards with the words plant justice, harvest peace. These are all notions of just peace. And in our hymn today, O Come, Emmanuel, in verse 2, it says, come you splendor verily bright, as joy that never yields. O come and turn all hearts to peace, that greed and at least shall cease. Those are all examples of just peace. Just peace calls us to address systemic injustices collaboratively with all parties, using nonviolent and restorative justice tactics, practices. Seeking peace is part of the mystery and wonder of life. Just peace specifically rejects the victor's imposition of order in a conflict without consulting the affected people. In a just peace approach, each side of the conflict, all participants of the conflict, present and negotiate their own perspectives on what a justice might entail for all of them. And then they seek to build that justice so that through that new community that they've created, they can also create peace. For example, the Unitarian Universalist Association is a constituent member of Churches for Middle East Peace. On our side of the Atlantic, it influences American policy to bring justice and peace for all people and countries in the Middle East. In Israel and Israeli-occupied Palestine, the Churches for Just Peace movement brings local Israeli and Palestinians together who are seeking peace with one another, to build relationships, to enter into dialogue, to find paths of cooperation, and to collaborate in creating a new justice-filled community for both Palestinians and Jews. They promote security and self-determination for Israelis and Palestinians alike. Just peace. It's a spiritual stance. It's a spiritual practice. This requires us to examine our souls and transform our lives into other ways of being with people and encountering them and engaging them. Peace on earth doesn't just happen. It's not a miracle that's going to fall from the highest heavens as in the Song of the Angels. But peace on earth can happen. It's something that we human beings can accomplish by our own efforts. Peace on earth calls for an intentional commitment to working with people in resolving our difficulties, our differences, our misunderstandings, our different perspectives. Together, collaboratively, in cooperation with each other, in relationship with each other, we can seek justice in our communities and in our own lives, and thus establish peace on earth. Peace on earth is a spiritual stance. It's also spiritual practice. Seeking peace on earth engages transcendent wonder and mystery. We know peace is possible. We believe that peace is possible. We want to achieve that peace. But there's no guarantee that it will happen other than the guarantee of our passion and love and commitment to create that peace with other people. We can face the challenges together, and we can seek that elusive peace for our communities and our worlds. May there be peace on earth, and may we all help create